Hello everyone, and in today's chess video we are going to see the round 3 of Tata Steel Masters 2022, and this is the game between Danil Dubov and Vidit Gujrathi. Thing which I liked about this game is that Vidit Gujrathi defended amazingly against Danil Dubov's attack, and there are a lot of things to learn from this game. That's why I decided this game. And also there was nothing going in round 4, and there were just some boring draws and some boring losses and wins. So I decided to cover the game of round 3 instead. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So Daniel Debo is playing with the white pieces and Vidit is playing with the black pieces. For e5, and after a few moves we can see that we have entered the Juco piano normal variation. Now we have pawn to d6, by h6, and now pawn to a5. A very pretty move by Vidit Gujarati, stopping the move pawn to b4 and also creating some space for his bishop from the a7 till the square, and may probably control the weak e3, f2 and g1 squares as well. So we have knight to a3, a novelty by Daniel Dubov, and it is a novelty because it wasn't played anymore, because it wasn't played in any chess game from now, any notable chess game, for example, like a world championship match or a very respected chess event. So this is a novelty, and Daniel Dubov and Vidit Gujarati, both knew that because they, of course, till move 7 were in their preparation. Now we have bishop takes on a3 and b takes on a3. This plays the perfect variation because you are kind of forced to take the knight here because now Daniel is planning to play knight to c2 and then play pawn to b4, and then the position would be a lot more explosive and simply doesn't want that against a fierce attacker like Daniel Dubois. So he goes for queen to e7, planning to castle on the long side and also trying to develop his bishop on the left. Bishop now castle, knight to b8, and now pawn to d4. Knight to b8's plan was to go for knight to d7 and then play pawn to c5. It is sort of the Morphy defense structure played if the rail up is opening, and with it follows that. After pawn to g5 and knight takes on e4, here is where the real fun starts. We have queen to c2, and now the best move in the position was simply eat and do nothing in the position and wait for your opponent to make a blunder. But with it goes for pawn to f5, which is a big inaccuracy, also shown by computer and also recognized by humans as well. It is a big inaccuracy because it's simply disturbing all your pawn structure, and you really don't have any good plans in the future. For example, any nice pawn take like d takes on e5 would simply ruin up the whole pawn structure and the whole position, and quite just in a brilliant mood to attack, and yeah, probably the game might be over in next few, no one knows. And this is what exactly happened. D takes e5 took place. Now rook to e1, and now knight takes on g3, and now h takes on g3, and now pawn to the e4 square. Now pawn to e4 square is a very reflexive move. First of all, the thing which it does is that it kind of releases the pressure from this guy because it now moves to the e4 square, also attacking on the knight some different way. When the king and the queen will probably attack the knight in real, and it also is defended by this pawn now. Now Daniel Dubov is trying to target his f5 pawn now, so goes for pawn to g4. Certainly, if you take, then after this, just simply the king and the queen, because after knight to 5, with the support of the knight, we can capture on e5 square and simply have no choice and you will win. And so this wasn't a nice move. And after knight to c5 and knight to d4, Daniel Dubov is trying to control the b5 and the f5 squares. So really nice plan because none of them could be actually stopped. And also there is a secret thread of this move, knight to the square in the future, because when the bishop will move, white will capture the b7 pawn, and then if white is able to get the c6 square, then it would be just deadly. After rook to f8, trying to add some additional defender and kind of attacker on the f file, we have the move pawn takes pawn. And now here is where the critical moment of this video or the game comes. Now you need to protect your this pawn at any moment, at any cost. But if you take with the bishop, use your b7 pawn and eventually you surrender the control of the c6 square to Daniel Dubov. Not a really a good thing to. So what did Vidit actually do in certain kinds of positions? Well, Vidit took on the f5 square with his bishop, allowed rook takes b7, and now played a secret move for which he has brought his rook all the way over till the f8 square. Yes, the rook to f6, covering the c6 and also this full diagonal, sorry, file. And a really nice move with it, and actually also the accurate move. And now we have a slight inaccuracy by Daniel Dubov with the b1 square, and it's just a slow move, literally doing nothing. Even if you play queen to b5, like nothing happens. Way more time for black to solidify up. And yeah, with it did the correct thing. It took on b7, and now rook e8, knight takes on f5. Exchanging pieces is never good, and now this position is clearly equalized. You have no chance of winning against that in such kinds of position, as even he's going to play a really brilliant chess. Your rook takes on e4, and now many players like me to mess up by playing rook to e5 square. But no, that's a big mistake. It clearly allows a move like bishop to b5 check and block with c check, then with take, and not a really a good position. And if the king sits over here, then what will you do? Well, you have a really great position. You really don't need to do anything, and even you really don't need to give the bishop to b5 check. You can simply give the queen to 6 check, and now what will your opponent really can do? Your opponent probably goes over here, then what will you take here, and you will keep irritating your opponent unless he gives up the e5 rook and even of the game. So first rook to d1 check, and now rook to e5. Now we have the d8 square for the king to escape. And now we start a series of speed run by the king onto reaching the center of the board. Start the count. King is only some few steps away. King is slowly reaching the center. And f3. A big mistake by Danil Dubov, surrendering the control of the game to Vidit Gujrathi, and really a big blunder. Daniel thought that he allows Vidit's king to enter in the center, then probably he can have some chances by rook 8 check, because the king is in the center. The bishop is simply going to eat the king up, but not the case over here, because now we have queen to e3, and after bishop to c6, the game progressed for three more moves. This after king to the e2 square, Daniel Dubois resigned the game because there are simply no more checks to give, and all the checks that literally don't make any sense, because either the queens would get exchanged or you will your queen. Example, queen f2, we have queen to, and after the exchanges, we are an exchange up with all these pawns available for us to eat, and we can easily win the game from here. And same happens with queen b4 check. We take, and this king is simply stuck over here, so we can take advantage of it by capturing all the pawns and winning the game easily by promoting our a, f, or h pawn. So a really great game by both the guys. I really liked it, and yeah, this game clearly made with the sole leader of the tournament. And yeah, it's really a proud thing for me because he's from India and a really great player, and also Pragnananda. He had drew against, I think, Fabiano Caruana, or I really don't know the name, but he defeated Niels Grantius, a really strong player from I think Scotland. And yeah, a really great game by both the players, Vidit Gujrathi and Daniel Dubov. And yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed the video and have some away from it. We'll be covering the Tata Steel Masters tournament 2024, but we'll not be covering all the games. We'll be covering some of the interesting games, and will also be paused by some of our Knight versus Pawn Endgame series. Stay tuned for that as well. And as usual, take care, have a great day, and bye.